The wild unknown. Place can eat a man alive. Place is so raw, even the Calamity couldn't cook it. Not all of it. Know what's better than having a slinger pistol in a fight? Having two. Savage things lurking at every turn. Got the core, like they're building a bastion of their own. The welcoming committee scrambles to attention. Didn't expect the kid so soon. By now, kids got more needles in them than a stab weed. They shouldn't have let their guard down. The core's right there, itching to come home. Getting that core was one thing. Getting out's gonna be another. He digs his way out of the clearing, but the wilds won't let him go without a fight. Wallflowers survive the Calamity. Toughen them up. Same goes for the kid. Let's take it real slow when pincushions are afoot. Don't ever turn your back on a pincushion. Pow. gives a wallflower a taste of its own medicine. A handful of windbag shipments made it out this far. Kid's seen the last of them. Slinger Jawson's old outpost is all that's left of him. Kid sticks to his old standbys. Kid's roused up half the wild by now. Then Kid gets the feeling he's being watched. Not by me, by a lunkhead. Lunkheads ain't fond of two-legged animals. Hit him anywhere but the hindquarters and he only made him mad. The Calamity must have scrambled their eggs. Kid learns the hard way not to touch those things. Wild green vine apples about the only good thing out here. Hardly any signs of the old Jawson camp. The Wild's already reclaimed this place. He's anxious to get back. After all, he's got the final core. His journey's over, right? Well, no, it ain't. Not by a long shot. Kid knows something's up when we ain't there to give a warm welcome. See, Zolf and I were just wrapping up a heated discussion. Zolf can barely muster the words. The Calamity failed, he says, but I will not. And with that, Zolf leaves us here, alone. When Zolf got through reading that journal, he just snapped. Started smashing up the monument till I tried to stop him. Zolf cursed the city, cursed the Bastion, cursed me, said he was going home. Zolf banged up the monument pretty bad. But there's a way to put her back together. The shards. We're gonna need all of them to nurse the Bastion back to health. comprehensive. Finders keepers. The city brought the shards to the wilds. Now the kid's gonna bring them back. You have to think fast to survive the wilds, and none thought faster than the slingers. They could shoot their pistols with the speed of a machine. They knew just when to start shooting and when to stop. Those pistols could spit out rounds just as quick as you could pull the trigger. Learning to hold your fire could be its own challenge. Slingers were much quicker than the average pistolier. Well, even the slingers weren't quick enough to escape the calamity. After Zolf's little episode, Kid sets off in search of shards. First stop, Jawson Bog. You'll get lost in that bog, I told the kid, and I won't be able to guide you back. Well, I let him go. What else could I do? What could any of us do? Zolf put us in a real bind. Hurt the Bastion bad. But the shards can make it better. They're like smaller doses of the core's medicine. Shame the only place to fill that prescription is out here in the wilds. This place is intoxicating. Don't know where he's gone. Might be gone for good for all I know. Wherever he is, it's somewhere I've never been. Somewhere I never want to go. Dead welcome him with open arms. Kid pops him good. There's no way out. That a survivor? No, ma'am. It's a lonesome ghost of a gas fella. Kid can't fall, no matter how hard he tries. What do you say to a kid who's seen too much? I'm Zolf of Ligura. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Now the kid sees something stranger still. Anybody else survive? Sure enough, he finds beggars, lunkheads, wallflowers, pincushions, vine apples, swamp weeds, ankle gaiters. Now the Bastion can send him even farther into the wild unknown. Kid sets foot inside one of Caelondia's famous watering holes. He has the nerve to flash the shield he stole. He's a petty thief. at what he did to poor old Ronnie, the bartender. Proper story's supposed to start at the beginning. It's so simple with this one. Now here's a kid whose whole world's alright, snoozing there on a rock in the sky. He wakes up. I'm just fooling. He sees what's left of the rippling walls. Years of work undone in an instant. He sees what's left of Piff, the bull. Gods, they're all undone. He sees what's left of his lifelong friend. His friend, he's come undone too. He sees what's left undone. Thought we'd lost him, but he finally comes to. The shard ain't lost either. Not anymore. Now to find a ticket out of this hole. Bootlickers dig their nasty thorns into his heels. Disgusting things. Ever heard of a lung blossom? It's bigger than the stories say. They say one whiff of lung blossom can make you lose your mind. The breath on that thing, like a scumbag sprung a leak. Well, the kid prunes it down to size somehow. Hard to get a sure footing in the bog. Mother only knows what happened in the bog. Kid never you care to speak of it. A shard is like a poor man's core, but beggars can't be choosers. That's it. A few more shards like that, and we'll be back in business. A single shard can breathe new life into this place. Shard's got enough juice to spruce up any of these places. Ain't saying much, but that's the greatest forge in all the city. Now he can shoot that fang repeater all day long. He ain't all that shy. The city tried to use the shards to stake out the wilds. So much for that plan. Ankle gators used to roam the wilds, and they nested at Rothless Lagoon. Many a tale folks used to scare their children straight originated here. All kinds of beasts what don't know up from down, still lurking about. Only the city's brushers knew their way around the lagoon. Even the brushers learned to fear this place. They used to think that ankle gators were extinct. Well, they ain't. One of them's been living in the tall grass. They called her Queen Anne. Turns out Queen Anne got a hold of a shard. Ankle gators love shiny things. The lagoon's got plenty of other dangers, of course. Know what smells worse than an ankle gator's breath? The stinkweed. Can't fight Queen Anne without the proper tools. The brushers use their pikes to keep their distance around here. Now the kid can do the same. They say you can't hurt an ankle gator unless it's raining. And it ain't raining. Bad idea to walk in gator grass. Sharp sticks make Queen Anne nervous, so she backs off a bit. Those pin cushions have been living off the ankle gator scraps. Queen Anne can't fit down some of these narrow paths. Queenie leads the kid into some kind of twisted trap. One bad step in that tall grass and it's Queen Anne's lunch. He holds his ground. Seems the Queen's running out of options. Still no sign of the shard. The closer you get to an ankle gator's lair, the thicker the tall grass grows. Kid's gotta make a run for it. That old gator's right on his tail. Queen's got one mean bite. Queenie must have scared a bunch of peckers out of hiding. Seems even stinkweeds know to stay away from the Queen. Ankle gators don't much care for their young. That's why there ain't many around. Wanna know how to find an ankle gator lair? They use a kid as bait. Now she's coming for him. She's got nowhere else to go. The shard sitting in plain view. He's got it, and now to finish her off. She's starting to get annoyed. And now he's made her mad. Rotha's Lagoon. That ain't the sort of place you'd want to go by choice. Many a tale folks use to scare their children straight originated here. All kinds of beasts who don't know up from down, still lurking about. Only the city's brushers knew their way around the lagoon. And they struck hard. Even the brushers learned to fear this place. They used to think that ankle gators were extinct. Well, they ain't. One of them's been living in the tall grass. They called her Queen Anne. Turns out Queen Anne got a hold of a shard. Ankle gators love shiny things. Know what smells worse than an ankle gator's breath? The stinkweed. Ain't time for pecker hunting, but the kid can't resist. Can't fight Queen Anne without the proper tools. Brushers use their pikes to keep their distance around here. Now the kid can do the same. They say you can't hurt an ankle gator unless it's raining. And it ain't raining. Most of those peckers are smart enough to stay out of Queen Anne's way. Sharp sticks make Queen Anne nervous, so she backs off a bit. Those pin cushions been living off the ankle gator scraps. Queenie leads the kid into some kind of twisted trap. One bad step in that tall grass and he's Queen Anne's lunch. He holds his ground. Seems the Queen's running out of options. Queen Anne can't fit down some of these narrow paths. Still no sign of the shard. The closer you get to an ankle gator's lair, the thicker the tall grass grows. Kid's gotta make a run for it. Those leaping monkheads don't like Queen Anne any better than the kid. They make a tasty snack. That old gator's right on his tail. Scared a bunch of peckers out of hiding. Seems even stinkweeds know to stay away from the queen. Ankle gators don't much care for their young. That's why there ain't many around. Want to know how to find an ankle gator lair? You use a kid as bait. The shard's sitting in plain view. Now she's coming for him. She's got nowhere else to go. She's starting to get annoying. They say if you run across an ankle gator, you better keep running. That's ankle gator country for you. And now he's made her mad. Rest in peace, Queen Anne. That was for the brushers. Kid's done what needed to be done. Queen Anne's reign is over. We even got a crown jewel. All that trouble for a single shard. But you know what? It was worth it. We need an awful big lost and found under the circumstances. It wasn't fixed, it was unbroken. With pike and repeater in hand, he's like a man come straight from the wilds. War machetes are so quick, you gotta keep a good grip on them. Folks say Mender mead's good for you. It's like an herb garden in full bloom. They said Queen Anne was just a folktale. Now there's living proof she ain't. That gator's a crazy gal, but so's the gal who promised to look after her. The trappers, daring bunch of fools. They'll be missed. The next charge should be farther out there in the wilds. Know how Caelondia became the richest city in the world? 2 words. Point Lemaine. If the wilds could ever be tamed, it was gonna happen right here. But now, the greatest outpost past the city line is nothing but a freak show. The army's triggers once had the place on lockdown. Kid might as well pick up where they left off. Blam, just like my fighting days. Gun like that can even put the wilds in check. Point Lemaine seen better days for sure, but it ain't done. place shudders in a fit. The Grand Rail of Point Lemaine. Not only is it still there, it still works. Of course, it's no longer shipping hides and alloys and spices, but it can give the kid a lift. Just as long as he can stay clear of the trouble on the tracks. Grand Rail's all grown over with things the Calamity chewed up and spat out. Things eager to take back their turf. Kid don't let so much as one of those things slip by. Lunkheads settled in like they own the place. Not much wiggle room up there near the rail. Takes fancy footwork on the rail, what with wallflowers, coffin fungus everywhere. The place used to be closed off, but now it's split open like a rotten pineapple. Of course, the Grand Rail's seen much more fighting in bygone times. Near on 50 years ago, first shots fired in the Ura-Selandian War. It was right here that Zulf's Ura forefathers decided to mix it up. Okay, so maybe we didn't get their sign-off on the whole Grand Rail thing. That was bad. The rail must have shook the Ura to the bone down in those dens of theirs. Well, the rail won't last much longer now that the kid took the shard. It's still got one good run in store for him, though. All the rotten wood there on the rails turning into swamp weed central. Ever tried dancing side to side while holding your breath? While shooting a genuine registered army carbine? While choking on swamp weed? While peckers trying to prick you in the eye? Well, let me tell you, it ain't fun. But then, at last, it's the end of the line. He'll be picking swamp weed out of those boots for days. Turns out he's got company up at the rail station, waiting for him. Zealandia lost many good men on the rail. Not just another wallflower or pincushion, mind you. At first, he thinks it's Zulf. Turns out he's wrong. This is for you, says the man. Then wham! When the kid comes to, the man's long gone. But something else is there. The only words Kid recognizes on that parchment are for Zia. Well, what's a kid to do? He took the shard, he took the hit, and he took that note. That note cuts straight to the heart of things, don't it? Finding gourmet ingredients ain't easy these days, but we'll take what we can get. Zulf's messenger was one of his people. Wonder just how many of them survived. And what exactly Zulf told him. Kid arrives just in time to sample Zia's famous cooking. He wolfs down too much too fast, and it all goes to his head. I've said a lot about the kid, but he ain't the only one wrapped up in all this. What's he thinking? Well, let me see if I got this straight. I only heard it once. Once there was a normal Ura girl, but she wasn't born in the Tassel terminals like the rest of her people. She was from Zealandia. folks were orphaned in the war, taken in and raised inside the city, on condition they would never return to the terminus. Refugees who came into the city had to stay for life. It was a way to reduce the risk of city secrets leaking out. The mama passed away from birthing complications, leaving the girl trapped inside that city with no one but her father. Father was sharper than a brusher's pike, so he got a job working for the city's mancers. His daughter barely saw him. Father told her nothing of her Ura heritage. He told her nothing of the Mansers. It's for your own good, he said. She took to studying the arts, learned more through music than history books. Gained a knack for strings and songs. At first, she tried to be like other girls, but her classmates spread word that her father was an Ura trader, selling out the city. One young man stood up for her, or so he led her to believe. He knew much of her heritage, and she grew fond of him. man convinced her to take him to a family den to meet her father. Spoke of how he wanted to meet a man from the terminals. When the young man greeted her father in the Ura's native language, her father flew into a fit of rage and threw them out. Lost my train of thought there. The young man never told her that the Ura's native language is not to be used by foreigners. To do so is a terrible insult. Well, I digress. Just can't get enough of that good home cooking, can he? Knocks him into an uneasy sleep. What's he thinking? Well, let me see if I got this straight. I only heard it once. Once there was a normal Ura girl, but she wasn't born in the Tassel terminals like the rest of her people. She was from Ceylania. Folks were orphaned in the war, taken in and raised inside the city, on condition they would never return to the terminals. Ura refugees who came into the city had to stay for life. It was a way to reduce the risk of city secrets leaking out. mama passed away from birthing complications, leaving the girl trapped inside that city with no one but her father. Father was sharper than a brusher's pike, so he got a job working for the city's mancers. His daughter barely saw him. Father told her nothing of her Ura heritage. He told her nothing of the Mansers. It's for your own good, he said. She took to studying the arts. Learn more through music than history books. Gain a knack for strings and songs. First, she tried to be like other girls, but her classmates spread word that her father was an Ura trader, selling out the city. One young man stood up for her, or so he led her to believe. He knew much of her heritage, and she grew fond of him. young man convinced her to take him to a family den to meet her father. Spoke of how he wanted to meet a man from the terminals. When the young man greeted her father in the Ura's native language, her father flew into a fit of rage and threw them out. The young man never told her that the Ura's native language is not to be used by foreigners. To do so is a terrible insult.
I dig my hole, you build a wall.
It was then that she decided to escape. The two of them could flee the city together and go to the Tassel terminals.
One day that wall is gonna fall. Gonna build that city on a hill.
They would hide inside a garbage bin until it got ingested by a scumbag, then let him slosh on out of the city for disposal.
Someday those tears are gonna spill. So build that wall and build it strong, 'cause we'll be there for tomorrow. Build that wall up to the sky.
succeeded, but the authorities were already there when that scumbag sidled up to the city walls. The young man had sent the authorities a tip, told him her father was using her to sell secrets to the Tazzle terminals. She and her father were arrested for treason, but her father got a deal. Returned to work for the Mansers, and she'd go free. Before they parted ways for the last time, her father whispered a desperate plea. Hurry home to the den and lock yourself in. She did as she was told, and deep down underground inside that den, she found a journal written in her father's hand. The next day, the door to the den turned to ash. The girl came up for air, and she saw the calamity all around her. When the kid wakes up, his world's still in pieces, just the way he left it. The note says it plain. Zia, go east to learn the truth about the calamity and our people. I'll be waiting. Sincerely, Zulf. Never could ask for a song. Kid don't always care for fancy guns and things. A bow and pike will do just fine. It ain't too late to unlock the potential of this place. Just the occasion to crack open the distillery's private reserve. Live wine so rich, they say it's brought men back from the brink for one last taste. The shards are getting harder to find. Ceylonia's army only took the best, and the best of them trained on Trigger Hill. The Triggers believed they were nothing without their rifles. Nothing beats the feel of shooting a Ceylonian army carbine. Sometimes you had to take care to steady your shot. The Triggers had clearance to modify their guns however they chose. Some felt the course was too easy, so the Triggers spiced things up a bit. Takes time to be a fast shot. Go figure. His ears must be ringing after all that shooting. The Triggers, my brothers, bravest men I ever knew. Kid takes another drag, goes out like a light. There's something you should know about the kid, but let me take it from the top. Catches up with the kid. Hardly had a moment's rest since all this started. Fair to say he's led a hard life, supposing what he says in his sleep ain't no lie. He never knew his old man, but he had his mama to take care of. Frail thing with pure white hair like his. Having his mama's hair did the kid no favors while he was growing up, but he learned to hold his own out there. School ain't working out, so the kid signs up for a turn on the rippling walls. Make his mama some money. Thanks to folks like the kid, the walls kept Ceylondia safe from whatever's out there. The elements, the Ura, you name it. Once the kid done his time, he hurried on home. Turns out his mama's time was done too. The city had nothing for him. The money he'd been sending home was nowhere to be found either. So what'd the kid do? Why, he went right on back to the walls for another 5 years. history of Caelondia, nobody's ever volunteered for a second shift on the walls. Out there, kid learned to fend for himself, learn to build, learn to break. In time, the kid earned good standing with the marshals. They trusted him to scout out farther than anybody. One night, on one of his expeditions, the ground beneath him shuddered, cracked, and split apart. He saw nothing where the world used to be. The calamity happened just like that. All the kid had to work with was his hammer and the clothes on his back. Through twisted streets, he ran with nothing but the city crest and an old stranger's voice to guide him. Finally arrived at Caelondia's vaunted safe haven. He and no one else. But then, all he got was more thankless work from a man who ain't even asked his name. Sure, I may be the one who dreamt up the walls and the Bastion, but the kid made them real, not me. Well, what does it matter? like to say I'll never forget him, or what he's doing, what he's done. I surely would. What else is there to say? Not everything blew up in the Calamity. Why, Colford Cauldron here blew up way ahead of its time. The cauldron boiled over some 300 years ago. They say it filled the skies with ash and the lakes with molten rock. If you wanted to survive something like that, you had to learn to adapt. So in a way, the beasts of the wilds, they're all survivors too. It takes a certain stubborn pride to keep on living in a place like this. As for us, we learned an awful lot from Colford Cauldron. That learning led to some interesting inventions. The raw power of the world fell right into our hands. Playing with the cauldron's fires became an addiction. Sure, we dusted off a good many secrets out here. But we discovered other things we're better off not knowing. Taste the air so hot it sticks to your lungs. All sorts of awful things crawling underfoot. You can cook those things, but you can't eat them. all that ash. The more ash we swept aside, the more life we found. We kept on sifting through the cauldron's secrets anyway. Place as inhospitable as they come. But still we pressed on. After all, when we looked down inside Colford Cauldron, looked down through all the smoke and flames, we saw in there the heart of the world, the heart now laid bare by the calamity. We had to have it. As for the kid, he just has to get that shard out of there. Too bad taking that thing woke up every last stink eye from here to Johnson Bog. Kid's thinking he's got to trek all the way back around the cauldron. Luckily, the cauldron cooked up a little shortcut for him. Sure, it ain't the most convenient path. Biggest stink eye he's ever seen's waiting for him on the other side. And where there's one stink eye, there's always more. Cauldron's tenants all gather up to bid the kid a fond farewell. Kid don't shed any tears for him though. With a good spyglass, you can still see the cauldron from the city. But all the fires died out. There's nothing left of it. It comes back looking like the inside of a chimney. We're all a little short on friends these days, so that's a welcome sight. The culture, a still life of old unwanted keepsakes. breakers. Ain't no one could outrun them. Or their arrows. They said the wild could never be tamed. If only they could see us now. Come on, give the little tiger a break. The shard works like a charm. You can hear the monument's heartbeat again. The memorial may be finished, but our part is far from over. Fearsome team. To fix a brusher's pike, you just need a good length of knife bark. Don't want that thing leaving your hands until you decide it's time. That's the way to make every shot count. Even the army never issued carbines in such fine shape. At least it won't get cold around here with that thing around. Takes a careful touch to rattle those bones like that. Takes a lot of moving pieces to make a dependable sidearm. He's made a right comfortable bed for all those bullets. We spotted a pecker carrying a shard to Mount Zan. Welcome to Grady Incinerator, home of the hottest wings east of Caelandia. In all seriousness, the incinerator was a dump, and it had a problem with peckers. Blasted things would swoop in and spread trash all around, until we started using fire. We couldn't just torch them all at once. We had to use restraint. Too bad we can't all fly. The peckers were willing to fight tooth and nail for all that trash. You'd almost think those peckers like getting cooked. the inside, a fire bellows ain't nothing like its more popular air-spitting cousin. The city, its riches nothing but fragments now. Javel. Gotta make sure the pointy end's fastened on real tight. Can't rightly call Mount Zan a mountain anymore. There's no more mountains now. There's no place left for the beasts of the wild to go. So they figure they'll hold out right here, on a slab of mountain the Calamity forgot. We only found their little lair because they found themselves a little shard. It's a delicate situation. Those beasts been hoarding all the valuables they could find. The creatures of the wild, they've been building a bastion of their own. sand go all out. Good thing for those beasts the Calamity saved leftovers. Without a doubt, the situation stinks. Best thing we can do for those beasts right now is put them down quick and clean. Besides, we have to take back what's ours. Even if the beasts of the wilds won't like it. What the city left behind, those beasts took for themselves. Takes a lot of convincing, and our mortars have to do the talking. Look at it this way, it's either them or us. But if we win, they win too. Our bastion is everybody's game, not just ours. Unfortunately, there's no explaining that to a simple beast. Those beasts been hard at work fixing up the place. They've been searching for cores and shards, just like we have. they've thought about turning back, just like we have. We just really need their shard. Kid got it fair and square. You don't need to keep tangling with all those things. He's done what's best for him, don't you worry. Don't you worry. We'll all be better off once the Bastion is complete. Fixed that thing right up, didn't we? Made these goings-on a little livelier. Suppose it's true a little song can put things in perspective. That mortar's gonna leave a lasting impression. That ought to give those dueling pistols a little extra kick. The inspiration. A forge can fashion anything. Sometimes I want to ask him, why do any of this? But truth is, I don't want to know. Pike and a galleon mortar. Now that's some terror from the high seas. Thought of an old trick from a galleon gunner I once knew. The monument's getting better. Zolf sure did a number on it, though. The arsenal's complete, in case we need protection. Oh, his manners ain't so bad. Just a couple shards left. The quarry's gotta have one, right? The secret to how we built Caelondia so tall and proud lies in Burstone Quarry.
Dig my hole, you build a wall. One